Find a comfortable seat on your yoga mat. Sit in any way that feels best for you. Let the arms just rest along your legs. Sit up nice and tall, roll your shoulders up, back, down a couple of times. Reverse the direction as well, forward and down. Let out a deep breath or sigh. Time for practice. And as you settle into this time for practice, think about the word courage. So today's word of the day is courage. And as I've been using my trusty book from Judith Lassiter in this opening month of the year, she opens chapter 7 on courage. It says, I find it interesting that we believe that both love and courage reside within the heart. I'm reminded of the cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz, who discovered that the path to courage was through the heart, and of how we tell people who are afraid to take heart. I think that after the ability to love oneself and others, courage is the second most important quality to cultivate in life. I've been taught repeatedly the importance of true courage, which I have come to see as equal parts knowing what is possible for me and understanding my interdependence with the world around me. Wise woman, Judith Lassiter. And for today's practice, I'll take in one of her practice suggestions that says, remind yourself about how much courage it takes just to live in today's world. Spend time here on your yoga mat, an active appreciation of your courage. So as we move through the somewhat fast-paced class of Yogahour, take heart in the poses that create fear and difficulty, and open with full courage to keep going. Tuck the chin down to the chest here and rock from side to side, right to left. Keep the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Walk the left hand out to the side. Take in 2 breaths. And the hand comes back to the legs. Chin to chest, over to the left side. And walk the right hand out. Give it 2 breaths there. Just release. Notice how you're coming in. Both hands to the thighs, chin to the chest. Both hands behind the head now, and give a little press of the head up into the hands. These little opening, sort of preparatory movements. Release the hands down, lift the head. Okay, come on over to all fours. Many more of us now with us. Thanks for being here for practice. Come to all fours, hands under the shoulders, knees right underneath the line of the hips, and do a few rounds of cat and cow. Move the spine back and forth, up and down. And as you do cat and cow, I'll turn on some tunes, hopefully light enough in the background here. From cat and cow, downward facing dog, tuck the toes and lift the hips. Pedal out the feet a little back and forth. This is a Yogahour sequence that I created several years ago. Actually, with my brother in mind, who was a pretty serious triathlete at the time. I'm thinking of the courage along the way that it takes in a long 12-hour Ironman or longer. Plank pose here. Come forward, shoulders right over the back of the wrist. Squeeze the glutes, lengthen the tailbone, tone the belly, and look a little forward past the hands. Hold top of your plank. And friends, continue to hold plank or add a round of push-ups. How many is up to you? 4, 5, 6. Toes or knees for those push-ups. And then stretch back to downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Step it forward into your low lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground. Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. Give it just one breath and sweep. And then lower the hands back down. Lift the back knee, step back to plank. You're here again to hold or to add a second round of push-ups. Elbows straight back for tricep push-ups, out to the side and wider for chest. And then everyone again, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Step it all the way through to your low lunge. Today, set the back knee down. Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky, sweep. Exhale, lower the hands down and step back to plank. Lower your knees to the mat, so all fours, knees together but hands still apart. And then lift the right leg up and back in line with the spine. Flex the foot, point the toes down, and extend the left arm out in front. When I think of courage, I think not only of a sort of broadening, a swelling in the heart, but a deep fire in the belly. So we're going to be on fire in this practice today. Hold it here, find it. And then lower left hand down, right knee down. Give it a go on the second side, left leg up and back. Flex the foot, point the toes down, extend the right arm out in front. Opposite arm and leg. Nicely done. Lower the hands and knees, simply sit back on your heels. Interlace your hands behind your back. And then fold your head down to your knees. And as the head goes down, lift your arms up. If that clasp of the hands is a little too tight right now, it's right off the bat in the practice. Just open up the hands instead. Stay here for one more breath. And then release the hands. Find your way back to downward facing dog. Again, inhale, lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Step it all the way forward in between the hands. Spin the back heel down, down dog lunge. Walk both hands towards the left front corner of your yoga mat. Broaden the front knee away from your front shoulder so that the knee moves closer to the pinky toe side of your foot. Give a little extra bit of pressure into the back leg. It might make the hips lift up a tiny bit and give you the space to breathe. From here, walk the hands in, plank pose, slip the right foot back to the left. Lower flat down to the belly. Interlace the hands again behind the back like we did, and lift everything up. Shalabhasana or locust pose. Hands bound. Lift, lift, lift. Exhale, lower down. Make your way to downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift your left leg up into the air. Step it all the way through. Spin back heel down, down dog lunge, second side. So reach your hands towards the front right corner now. Broaden the front knee away from the front shoulder still. The weight likes to descend and fall into the front side of the body. Try to get as much into the back side as you can. And then bring the hands back around the front foot. Step back to plank. Again, lower flat down against the yoga mat. Both hands go behind your head now, behind the head, and lift everything that you can up. Point the elbows more forward to make this more doable. Out to the sides, keep expanding and challenging the pose. And then lower everything down. And again, press back, child's pose, give it a breath. Go to downward facing dog. We've got that three-legged dog one more time here. Lift the right leg up. Step it all the way forward in between your hands. Come upright, arms to the sky. Nice high full lunge here. Pull your back heel forward over the toes and then scooch your toes further back. So you've made your stride just at least 2 inches longer there. And then hinge forward, set your belly down onto your thigh. Palms together and add the twist. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Push the palms together, point the right elbow up to the sky. Try to keep lifting the back thigh rather than lowering it to give you space in the twist across low back and hips. And then untwist, set the hands down, spin the back heel down, and again take the hands behind your back, interlace. Head down, arms up. No handed lunge. So very similar to down dog lunge here in the legs. Different arms. Release the hands on either side of the front foot. Plank pose. Lower flat down to the mat. This is superhero. Arms forward, feet back. Go. Lift, lift, lift. Everything expands. Lower it down. Push back to child's pose. Change to downward facing dog. Last bit of our warm-up set here. Lift the left leg high, three-legged dog. Step it all the way through. Come up to high lunge. Give it a couple of breaths in high lunge. Hinge forward at the hips. Add the twist, palms together, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Take a moment to dig it in there. Couple of breaths. Untwist. Set the hands down so you can balance yourself and then back heel down. Okay, so no handed lunge. Hands interlace, again behind the back, making the legs firm and do a little bit more work as well as in the belly. You can choose to stay at that level. If you're interlacing the hands, try the second favorite finger in front. And then send head down, arms up. If the clasp of the hands feels a little awkward, you know you've got the second side. And then we'll release both hands either side of the foot. Listen up here, we're stepping to the front of the mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach both arms to the sky, stay there. Arms up, up, up. Bring your feet as close together as you like for practice. Take hold of your right wrist and reach over to the left side. I'm trying to mirror you guys, thinking about it myself. As you continue to lean, think of lifting your upper ribs more towards the sky. And then come back to your center. Hold on to the second wrist. Reach up first and then a little bit over. Keep equal weight in both feet, but try to lean the hips a little bit away. Okay, inhale, come back to middle. Separate the arms, take them about shoulder height. I'm going to take my feet as wide as the hips as well. Chair pose, bend the knees, sit into your thighs. But we're going pretty low in chair pose here, belly down towards the thighs. Send the arms out in front of you. Stay here for one more breath. And then stand back up. Now right foot forward, step your left foot back behind you into a high lunge. Open up to warrior two, spin the back heel down, open the arms in either direction. Look forward over the front fingertips. And if you gaze just down from there, pull your knee away from your big toe so that you can see your big toe as you glance down. That helps us lengthen from inner thigh to inner knee. Have knee right over the line of your ankle, not beyond. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Hinge from the hip to reach as far as you can to the right and change to triangle pose. Right hand can find the floor or your leg. Top arm up to the sky. Take your gaze to where it feels best to you. Sometimes I look down to study my balance, up to feel a little more challenge and balance or expansion in the body. Inhale, pull back up, right? Rebend the right knee. Circle the hands around the foot and step it all the way forward. Stand up, arms to the sky. Go back down into that low chair sit, bend both knees. Torso forward, hips, thighs back. 2 breaths like this. We use that strength in the legs a lot for the courage of the practice today. Stand back up. Now it's left foot forward. Step the right foot back behind you into high lunge. We're on the second side here for warrior two. Spin the back heel down and open up. So warrior two, we always want the focus of the body to be towards the long side of your yoga mat. But you're turning your gaze towards the front fingertips. Be with it. Straighten the left leg, go to triangle pose, reach as far as you can to the left. Lower left hand to your leg or the floor, top arm up to the sky. Shoot for 2 straight legs, 2 straight arms, no matter how high or low you are in that bottom arm. Okay, next breath, come on upright. Rebend the front knee. Cartwheel the hands down around the front foot. This time step back to plank pose. Nice steady hold of plank here for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it flat down against your mat. Peel the chest up, good old cobra. Press down through your hands and knees. Think shoulders up and back to create space across the chest. And push it back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana here. Step your right foot forward in between the hands. We're coming up again to warrior two. So spin the back heel down, lift the torso, extend the arms. This time right into side angle pose. Set the elbow down to your knee. Reach the top arm overhead. This is to move us into bound lunge. So first option is to stay and hold right here. Second option is to make your shoulder touch down towards your inner thigh. And thirdly, top arm behind your back, bottom arm under your thigh. bound lunge. Remember that down dog lunge where I asked us to push a lot of weight into the back leg? Keep doing that here. Unwind yourself back to side angle pose and back to warrior two. For the second side, I want you just to straighten the right leg, turn the toes, face what was the back end of your mat. Bend the left knee, warrior two. Legs stay the same between all three of these poses. So second pose, side angle pose, it changes the torso and the arms. Legs are still the same. Same thing, bound lunge. Upper body changes, lower body does not. Stay steady, stay firm. Breathe and do the work. Walk out of bound lunge, back to your side angle. Back to warrior two. Straighten both legs, turn the toes parallel to one another, and just heel toe it all the way in. Give it a good little shake here. We got a balance series next. Eagle pose, coming right up. Lift the arms to the sky. Bend the knees, sit into your thighs. So chair pose, we're starting in chair pose. Wrap your right leg over the left. Squeeze the foot against your calf or behind the calf. And then wrap right arm under the left. Come back to the hands. We spend a little bit more time in the Wednesday classes breaking one particular pose down as we go through the month. We've done bound lunge, we've done eagle pose here. And we get to practice it all together on Sundays. Release the right leg down, unwrap the arms, lift both arms up to the sky. Bend the knees, go back into the legs. Wrap the left leg on top of the right. And the foot can hang out to the side, that can help to counterbalance or squeeze it in. Left arm under the right. And then anything that is touching, squeeze more towards each other. Think head and shoulders, back, knees forward here to lengthen the spine. Unwrap the legs, unwrap the arms, both arms to the sky. Right into dancer pose, kick your right foot towards your butt. Make a serving platter with the right hand. Serve your big toe. From this sort of flamingo pose, straight up and down, standing on one leg, I challenge you to hinge forward. Make a little more back bend into the shape. Lift the back leg higher and higher and higher. Focus along one point that will maintain your balance. And then come to stand back on 2 feet. Lift the arms up to the sky. Kick the left heel to your seat. Serving platter. Serve the big toe. And hey guys, if this opening in the shoulder doesn't work for you, hold on to the pinky toe side of the foot instead. See if that helps. So you're always finding what works for you in the pose. And I think that's the biggest courageous act that we can do here on the mat, is saying, okay, that one thing was offered to me. What can I do with it? Dancer pose, not the Rajasana. Go for it. Stand back, 2 feet on the ground. Everything a little bit of a shake. Make your way to the front of the mat. Just take it in, a couple of breaths. Strong, steady beginning to practice. How are you doing? And then fold over, touch fingertips to the ground, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward, step the left foot back into your long, low lunge. We're moving into twisted triangle pose, which means we need a little shorter stride. Step the left foot in, maybe a quarter of the way, and then spin the back heel down so you've lined up heel to heel. To get both legs straight, take the hands to the hips and give yourself the freedom to lift your torso as much as needed to straighten your legs. With the hands then on the hips, they can help to guide right hip back, left hip forward and down a little bit. Try to square it off. Send your head about parallel to the line of the floor. And extend your left arm straight out to make your upper arm bone come to the line of the ear. This is just always a pose. I slow down, take a step back, breathe with it. Go into the twist. Left arm down, right arm up. And where you set those limbs in terms of down and up is up to you. Big toe side of the foot can make the pose a little broader and easier to maintain balance. Big challenge, take the hand over to the pinky toe side of the foot. If you're looking for a way to find and keep your legs straight, walk the hand higher up your leg, like a tall yoga block. And then everyone come back out of the twist, place the hands to the hips and pull your torso upright. Little bend in both knees, step forward, forward fold. A breath or two here. And then left foot forward, step the right foot back. Again, go for your full stride at first. And then shave it by about a quarter. Step the right foot in. Spin the heel down. So back toes, point them towards the front right corner of the mat. Both hands to the hips. Again, straighten the legs, bring the torso higher up until that can happen. Find the little pointy end of the hips and try to point both of them forward as much as possible. Right arm in line with your ear. Stay and work there. Great sense of stretch and strength in the belly there. Add the twist if you're going for it. Bottom hand to the ground, left arm to the sky. Think head not down, but out, past your front toes. So you want the length of the spine to help you twist. And come all the way back upright. Again, little bend in both knees and step forward, front of the mat. Utkatasana again, your chair pose or power pose, arms up, sit into the legs, but try to be more vertical in the torso here for a moment, more upright. And then fold over, hands to the ground. Okay, this time you get to keep both hands on the ground. Right foot forward, step the left foot back. Launch onto your front leg and hands so that you can lift your left leg into the air. It's like warrior 3, but with the hands down for support. I need a pretty good bend in my standing leg to keep the fingertips on the ground. Twisted half moon, left hand stays down, lift the right arm up. And then bring both hands to your hips and go for warrior 3. Arms straight out in front of you, left leg back behind you. This is hard. I want you to maintain left leg lifted, but pull the left knee into your chest as you stand upright. Go along with me here as much as works. Right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Reach your left hand back behind you. Go the distance. Stay with that, or reach your hand to the pinky toe side of your lifted leg and stretch the leg as straight as it'll go. Look to the side or back. Two feet down to the mat. Lift both arms up to the sky, bend the knees, sit into the thighs, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the knees bent so that all 10 fingers can still touch the ground. Left foot stays forward, step the right foot back. And then with the hands staying down, bring your weight into the left leg, lift the right leg off of the mat. Keep right hand down, lift the left arm to the sky, tone and turn the belly, twist in the spine as you do that. Revolved half moon pose. And then we're bringing it into warrior 3, both hands to the waist. Bottom leg can stay bent the entire time here. Reach the arms out in front of you. Try to lift from the inner thigh of your right leg. And then stand up and pull the right knee into your chest. Can you do it the whole time on one leg? Challenge your balance. Challenge that endurance. Left hand across the thigh. Reach the right hand back behind you. Hold here or hold on to the outside edge of the foot and straighten the right leg. Bring it back in, stand on 2 feet. Woo, inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, step it back to downward facing dog. Familiar pose here, down dog.
Pedal out your feet. Couple more breaths like this, and then press both heels evenly down towards the mat and come to all fours. From all fours, take one hand out to the side and then thread underneath. Lay your shoulder, ear, side of the face down to the floor. Extend the free arm overhead on the ground, up to the sky, or drop the hand behind the opposite hip. I'm going to mention here that my recording actually dropped out the mic at this point in the practice, and so now I'm watching the video of the last half of the class and commentating from what I see. Okay, let's come on up. Place the hand beside your face. Use it to help you back to all fours. Second side. Take the arm out to the side. And again, thread underneath, shoulder, ear, side of the face, down to the yoga mat. Extend your free arm forward, up to the sky, or drop the hand behind the hip. Take a few breaths here. Use this time as a little bit of a reset. Breathe, enjoy, less intensity. And again, place the hand beside your face. Come on up to all fours. Lift your right leg up and back in line with the spine. Extend the left arm out in front. So we did this towards the beginning of class. Opposite arm and leg lifted in your table balance. And then adding on from here, bend the back knee and reach your hand, hold on to your foot. Do your best to kick your right foot a little more over towards the right side to square the hips and shoulders. And then lift up. Press the hand into your foot and try to actually lift the leg a little bit higher up. Elevated bow pose. Release, extend the arm and leg, and then take it back down to all fours. Second side, lift your left leg up and back, and extend your right arm out in front. Tone in the belly, think belly up. And keeping that tone, bend the back knee, reach the front hand, reach the left hand, Nope, that's your right hand, isn't it? Reach your right hand back towards your left foot. Try to square off, hips, shoulders back towards the front. So it's a little kick of that lifted foot over towards the left side. Lift, 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 as if you're elevated off of the ground here. Elevated bow pose. We'll come back and do full bow in just a few poses from now. For now, come down to your seat. Feet out in front of you. This is boat pose, Navasana. Hands underneath the crease of the knees. Lift the feet off of the floor. And we'll call this stage 1 of boat. Stay and work there. Stage 2, extend your arms out. Keep the chest lifted, broad across the shoulders. Or stage 3, straighten the legs. Do the piece of the pose that works best for you. Try to keep the lift front of the sit bones. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower the legs. Okay, from here we're going to lie all the way down onto our back. Take the hands under your hips. Leg raises, so extend the legs out and then up. And the hands can stay right there, tucked underneath your butt for most support. Or a little more challenge, take the hands behind your head, even lift head and shoulders off of the mat. So any of those 3 arm positions. Glue your feet together and keep them straight, lower them down until they're a few inches from the ground, and then back up. Go slowly here. And that's a little more difficult. Slow it down. We want our low belly to feel as though it's always moving down into the mat, not giving that huge curve of the low back away. If you find this a little too intense or experience a lot of diastasis recti, perhaps after a baby, go 1 leg at a time instead of 2. We always want the belly to feel as though it's depressing down towards the mat rather than lifting up in these core positions. Nice and slow, just a couple more times. And then release. Bend the knees, hug the knees into the chest, and rock a little bit from side to side. From here, we're coming all the way to downward facing dog. Rock yourself up, over to all 4s, and stretch back to downward facing dog. Your next inhale, lift the right leg up, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee into the chest, hover forward, and set it down for pigeon pose. So right knee behind the right wrist, heel towards the left hip. Lower the back knee down. And start to walk the back leg further back till more of the front of the left thigh is on the ground. And come on down to your forearms. So pigeon pose here. Even out the weight. Have as much weight back on that left leg as you do your right. And that'll be important as we add a twist to this position. So start from your regular pigeon, and then try taking your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Much like we do in a lunge with the twist, except now we're starting in pigeon. Really work that back leg, still really strong. Press the thigh into the ground. Tone and turn the belly, place the palms together, point the right elbow up to the sky. If that feels a little too intense, don't worry about the twist. Do what you can here. Pigeon pose with the twist. Slowly untwist, set both forearms back down, give yourself 2 breaths full in pigeon pose. And walk back up to your hands. And let's find our way to downward facing dog. We've got one more side. Lift the left leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee into the chest, hover forward for just a moment, and then set it down into pigeon. Left knee behind the left wrist, heel towards the right hip, set the back knee down, walk the back leg out. Come down to the forearms. I like to untuck the back toes, but if you like to keep the back toes tucked, it can enhance a little bit more strength in the back leg, that's fine. You can help to keep the weight even. All right, let's try the twist. So this time it's going to be right elbow towards the outside of the left knee. That's a big reach. If going all the way to the outside of the knee doesn't work, much like twisted triangle pose, sometimes I'll just let the elbow come just inside of the thigh on the ground and work the twist from there. Okay, enough of that twist. Come out of it. Come back, both forearms on the ground. Take a couple of breaths. Walk it back up to your hands and downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower down, flat against your mat. Belly down, all the way down. Extend the legs a little further back behind you. Reach your arms out in front. Think superhero pose like we've already done. I like to get that length first. And now we're going into full bow pose, Dhanurasana. So bend both knees. Reach your hands back and grab hold of the feet. So at this point, if your hands don't grab your feet, that's fine. They can still reach towards, and all the same actions apply. But if you can, hold on to the feet. That closed chain of the body makes things a little bit easier to expand from. Inhale, lift everything as high as you can. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Lift the thighs higher. Use the hands to actually help lift the feet higher. Think chest forward, knees back here. Bow pose. And exhale, lower it all the way down. Release your feet. Give yourself a moment. Push back to child's pose. I love that child's pose right afterwards. Okay, downward facing dog again. From down dog, step both feet forward to the front of the mat. Place your hands on your hips, point the elbows up to the sky, press down into your feet, and come all the way up to standing. Mountain pose. Arms down by your side. How are you feeling at this point in practice? Take in a couple of breaths. At this point, we've done well over 35 poses. If you want to count right side and left side, almost double that. That's awesome. It's one thing I love about yoga hours, how much we do. Okay, let's keep going here. Take your feet as wide as your sticky mat. This is Malasana, yogi squat. Turn the toes out, let the heels fold in, and then sit down. Lower the hips. Keep the feet flat on the floor here for yogi squat, which means your butt can always be more lifted or lower down, but do try to pull your chest up and through. And from here, we're going to arm balance pose. Go ahead and lift your butt halfway up so that it's about in line with the knees. Give you a little more space, turn the toes straight ahead instead of out, and then thread your arms through your legs. That's a good stopping place. Next for arm balance pose though, is to set your hands down. The heel of my hand usually is up here until you decide to sit onto your upper arm bones. Just like it says, arm pressure pose. You've got to put the pressure of your legs onto your arms. Try to take your feet off of the floor once you're all the way sitting on the shelf of your arms. Press your upper arms out into your thighs and your thighs into your arms to lock in that connection. Set the feet back down on the mat if they're still lifted. Find yogi squat one more time, Malasana. And then safely inhale and come all the way up to standing. Really push through the feet to give you that safety as you come on up, and heel toe the feet in, hip distance apart. Again, mountain pose. Check it out. How do you feel? Keep the right foot forward and step your left foot back to come into a high lunge here. Right foot forward, left foot back, good old high lunge, hands at the hips for a moment. Lower the back knee down to the floor, keeping all that strength in your legs. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Anjaneyasana. It's a heart opening pose. Most literally, Anjaney. Keep sending back knee down and forward, front heel down and back as you feel the stretch and length all the way through the line of the torso. Next exhale, set the hands down either side of your front foot. Pause, take a breath. Then lift the back knee up and step it all the way forward. Inhale, stand up, lift the arms to the sky. Right away, left foot forward, step the right foot back. We've got arms overhead. Go again this side, set the back knee down. That same strong connection. Feel as though you're pulling up from the ground and a little bit forward. It's a back bend pose. Lift your heart, be open, head up, heart open. That's what we'll be working on as our February mantra. So just modeling that a little bit here, getting ready for it. Pick the back knee up off of the ground and step it forward. Front of the yoga mat, inhale, lift up, arms all the way to the sky. And exhale, forward fold, touch back down. Step both feet back to plank pose. 8-point pose. Lower the knees down to the mat. So we have toes, knees, and then chest and chin. Toes, knees, hands, chest, and chin. Have a little lift of the hips off of the mat. And then change from 8-point pose into cobra. Slide it through and up. Exhale, come all the way down to your belly, all the way down. Make a little pillow with your hands for your forehead and rock your forehead back and forth in the hands from one temple all the way over to the other temple, side to side. Nice and slow, helps to release. Let the body find what works here. Okay, still a little more practice. Let's come up to Sphinx pose. Set the forearms on the ground with the elbows right underneath the line of your shoulders. I want you to press down through the forearms to feel as though your chest is lifting up and trying to go through. Okay, from Sphinx pose, we're adding on more challenge. It's kind of like that elevated bow pose, except this time we're using same arm and leg. So bend your right knee and then take your right hand and hold on to your foot. Best you can, lift your right thigh off of the ground. Slowly release. I want you to keep all of these actions in mind. They'll foreshadow the next pose as well. So second side. Now we bend the left knee, reach back, try to hold on to the left foot. And do your best. Lift your left thigh off the ground. And release it down. Okay, push back to child's pose, taking a breath. And then go to downward facing dog. So next here we go into side plank. So from down dog, place your weight onto your left hand and spin to the outer edge of your left foot. Stack your feet and lift the right arm up to the sky, side plank. Okay, if in Sphinx pose you stayed, both forearms on the ground, you're going to stay just like this. If you tried catching hold of your foot just a moment before, it's trickier here, but we can try it again. Bend your right knee, heel towards your seat, and reach your right hand back and try to hold on to your foot. So now we're in Kapinjalasana, baby bird pose. Do your best, a couple of breaths there, and then release. Go through downward facing dog, move to the second side. Right hand, outer edge of the right foot, stack the feet. Keep the hips higher rather than lower here. Again, you stay in this form of side plank, or you give it a go for that baby bird pose. Kick the left heel towards your seat, reach the left hand behind your back. It's that same back bend that we just did from Sphinx. And release, both hands down, downward facing dog. Lower your knees down to the yoga mat. I want you to sit back on your heels here. Bring your torso upright. And a couple of options. You can sit plain back on the heels. Keep the knees together but separate the feet and sit on the yoga mat in between your feet. Try to hug, squeeze the heels very close into the body. The knees can come a little bit apart as you do this, but important to keep squeezing the heels in towards the side, not be too splayed out. You could also just sit up higher on a yoga block. And then when you're ready, add a twist to this. Look towards your right side, little twist, across the center, and look towards the left. So Vajrasana or Virasana, sit with the twist. Okay, come back to the center. Safely come out of this seat. Back to all fours. And transition again to sit all the way down onto your butt. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Okay, here. Bend both knees, set the soles of your feet on the ground. So we're sitting still. Both sides of our glutes, both feet on the mat. Hug around the front of your shins and try to sit up really tall. This is our preparation for turned crane pose. And then we're going to add the twist. So right elbow to the outside of the thigh. We've done that in a couple of variations already today. Now we're doing it from the seat. And bring both hands up right in front of the shoulders, kind of like they're in cobra hands. And try to still stay lifted in the torso. This is a great variation of turned crane pose. From there, we can move into the squat variation. Use that back hand to help you come up onto your tiptoes, heels lifted here, and find your balance again. Even more challenge, set the hands down onto your yoga mat. You're still in the twist. Lean your head more forward. As you lean your head forward and down, you're going to tip over to set the thighs on your upper arm bone and bring your feet off of the ground. Give it a go for a couple of breaths and then come on back down. And if possible, we want that opposite elbow to not be locked into your hip. Now, it's not wrong if you lock the elbow into your hip, but if we're thinking about how this pose progresses into others, we would need that elbow free. Okay, let's give it a go on the second side. So I'm a little behind on the movements here, but we've flipped over to the other side. Soles of the feet, add your twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. When you're ready, up onto the toes, set the hands down and go for it. Second side, turned crane pose. Easier to see here how that opposite elbow is in space. I'm not setting my hip onto it. It's hard, I know. Therein lies the work, right? Okay, come on down if you're not already. And all the way down to lay onto your back. Pull the knees into your chest. Whew. This one should feel nice. Just kind of hug and rock a little bit from side to side. And as you rock here from side to side, release the breath. Let it be. Okay, we've got one belly up back bend here. And this one can be up to you. We've been pretty fired up throughout the class using the courage from breath to breath, pose to pose. So any belly up back bend that feels right to you. I'm going to lead us through good old bridge pose. So if you want to go with me, bridge pose. Press down through your feet, shoulders, head, lift your hips up, interlace the hands underneath you and try to roll the shoulders one at a time, more up and in. Remember, always good squeeze in the glutes, lift, lift, lift through the hips here. There's a different variation, a little more flair that you'd like to add to this belly up back bend pose. Go for it. Remembering the courage to try what exactly works for you. It's your practice, your time. Give it a few more breaths. And then as you're ready, release the hands, lower your hips down. Take the time once you come out of this bridge pose or your different belly up back bend to pull the knees into your chest. Again, just kind of rock a little bit, whatever feels nice. Take the hands out into a T shape and lower both knees over towards the left side. A supine twist here. Just breathe, nothing fancy, nothing added. Take the knees across the center and drop them over to the second side. Again, supine twist. Try to keep both shoulders mostly on the ground. You can look up. Some folks like to look over the opposite shoulder. This one we want just to simply feel good. Okay, I'm going to give you the option to do that exact same thing a second time. Or if you want to go for the last little bit of flair for this yoga hour practice, come with me for Tibetan weaponry. We cross the right leg over the left. Take your hands and hold on to your opposite feet. You're in a little tight ball here. And then lower your right thigh down to the mat. Your right thigh, right knee down to the mat. It should make you roll over towards the left side. As you roll towards the left, extend the left leg as straight as you can. Big quad stretch on that bottom leg. Big IT band stretch on that top leg. Okay, come out of the pose, unwind yourself back to the center. Let's give it a go on the second side. Be left leg over the right, and then reach down, hold on to your feet. Lower the left thigh down towards the front short side of your yoga mat. And that's going to make you twist a little bit. Lean into the twist and extend the top leg as straight as it'll go. So you lean towards the right, extend the left leg as straight as it'll go. And then nice and slow, come out, unwind yourself, release your feet. And yogis, we've done it. This is your time to find any last little bits of movement prior to finding stillness, finding your place. Shavasana. In Shavasana, let your breath guide you. Couple deep breaths and then let it be. As you continue to lie back in Shavasana, I offer you from Judith Lassiter, a few mantras. A few mantras on courage. I will do what is possible. My courage is an expression of my love. Courage is the willingness to act in the face of the unknown. Living fully in each moment is a radical form of courage. Letting go of what I cannot change celebrates my courage. As you are ready, come back into a bit of movement, fingers and toes. Take your time to come all the way back to a seated position. And once in that seat, bring the palms together, thumbs to your sternum. Celebrate the courage in your heart, the courage in the heart of those that practice together. We'll close this practice in the sound of Om. It's a way of celebrating this space and sending goodness into the next. You're welcome to sing along, to listen, to tune it out. Empty out the breath here. Take a deep breath in. Bow in deepest of gratitude to yourself, each other, in this practice. Namaste. Thank you.